the mics, and Mayor, we're ready to roll.
Thank you. We will now call to order the Riverside City Council meeting for Thursday, October 5th, 2023 at 6:01 p.m. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Denning.
Here.
Mrs. Franklin. Here. Ms. Fry. Here. Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Ms. Lomax.
Yes.
Mr. Maxfield. Mayor Williams.
Here.
Move to
Move to-
excuse.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Joseph and a second from the Deputy Mayor to excuse Mr. Maxfield from tonight's meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Mr. Manager, are there any additions or corrections to the agenda as presented?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Joseph and a second from the Deputy Mayor to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. If you would please all join us to rise and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have been aware of the traffic accident on Route 4 that involved Dayton police officers. And at this time, we would like to have a moment of silence for those officers and their families and hope for a very speedy recovery. Thank you. We're going to call a bit of an audible here. We're going to zip through most of our business meeting, if not all of it. And then we'll get to the oath of office for Chief Miller. And so we'll skip right up to the 8th portion of our agenda item. We've all had a chance, I should say, to look at the September 14th and 21st council meetings. Folks, I promise we'll be fast. Meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve those meeting
moved.
minutes?
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Denning and a second from Mr. Joseph to approve the September 14th and September 21st council meeting minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Mr. Manager, there is a liquor license transfer. Anything to report there? for
No.
112 Woodman.
Nope, no objections.
We
No
don't have to
action
do anything.
required.
No action required. We thank you for the update. We have a reapplication for Lisa Carpenter to our Board of Zoning Appeals.
That's correct. I don't believe she's here this evening, but we will go ahead and have that discussion along with the other board and commission reappointments that we talked about at next week's work session.
Okay.
So
moved to-
no action required here.
Oh.
Just a heads up that she is a reapplicant and we'll be talking about it next week.
Great.
Okay.
If there are any citizens with us tonight in the council chambers that wish to speak on an agenda or non-agenda item, there are plenty of forms in the back that you could fill out and turn into the clerk up here with us. We'll go quickly through department updates.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll be very, very brief. I'll turn it over to Ms. Baker in the finance department.
We said farewell to Tom on Friday. Everybody in the city had part in making that a great event, so that was great. Since then, we haven't had any significant road bumps, so that's even better. We've started and finished some of the third quarter reports and reconciliation. So that's great. Budget season is starting. We've had some great response with that as well. And our audit was extended through 10/31 for reasons beyond our control. But we'll have more on that later.
Questions for Ms. Baker? Welcome aboard. In this, your first official meeting, I believe, in this role. So thank you. All right, and community development.
Ms. Holt?
Good evening. Just a few things. The CRA Housing Council will have a work session on Monday at 1 p.m. So that'll be its first act. We are on track for 4032 Linden to be taken down at the end of the year due to the amount of asbestos they found in the building. Some of the other properties that we were awarded will probably happen in 2024. So that's just an update on where we are on the land bank grant that we were awarded a while back. We are also working on a commercial business kind of outreach campaign to educate our business partners on the land use plan update and on the property maintenance update. So we really want to reach out to those partners and educate them on them. I'm working with Katie on developing a meeting in a box and some other tools. So that's the things I have.
Questions for Ms. Holt?
Just a statement for the public and those listening into our meeting. Can you tell them what the address on Linden Avenue is?
4032.
Yeah, but what is the building?
Oh, it's the MTC building.
Right.
There's nothing
Well, that's
for
what
it.
people want to know.
Yep.
Thank you.
Wonderful news. And back to the city manager for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just very briefly, I do want to recognize incoming Chief Miller and Ms. Baker, Ms. Holt. There's a lot of new faces around the table. Ms. Davis, our HR manager, is also here this evening. So I'm excited that we've got some momentum. We're pulling a team together and all pulling in the same direction. So very good news.
Not is the most senior tenured member of your staff.
Present, yeah.
Present anyway. But yeah, no, just very exciting direction I think that we're heading in, and a big thank you to all the staff, especially the folks sitting at this table who helped pull together everything that you see here this evening. And I appreciate everybody's patience on the agenda. I know Chief Miller has some family that are en route, so we're just going to zip through the business portion to buy folks some time, and then we'll be off to the races. That's all I have.
All right. Any questions for the city manager?
I have one.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Manager, I know that Interpoint and Grant Pike are actually in Dayton. But that light that is there used to be on a switch from Interpoint to Brant, and now it seems to be on a timer and it's always going off, and there's no traffic on Interpoint, and all the traffic's being stopped. And I don't know if there's anything that we can poke them or something and ask them to take a look at that. Or if there's a good reason why they've changed it, at least give us an explanation.
Sure. I don't know off the top of my head, but I'll happily get in touch with Ms. Bartlett about it.
All right, thank you.
All right. If is anyone from the public that's with us tonight turned in a slip to speak on an agenda item, Madam Clerk?
No.
All right. We'll move right along to unfinished business. We have the second reading, public hearing and potential adoption for ordinance 23-0-839.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the ordinance by title only?
Ordinance 230839, an ordinance to make supplemental appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Riverside, state of Ohio for the period January 1 through December 31st, 2023.
I will now open the public hearing for ordinance 23-0-839 at 6:09 PM. If anyone from the public would wish to speak on this ordinance, please come to the podium, give your name and address for the record. Please keep your comments at 3 minutes. Hearing no one and seeing no one come forward, I will close the public hearing at 6:09 PM. Is there any further discussion among members of council? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Lomatch,
Yes.
Mr. Joseph,
Yes.
Mr. Denny,
Yes.
Mrs. Franklin,
Yes.
Ms. Fry,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Ordinance passes. We will now go into new business. We have the first reading of one ordinance and we have 7 resolutions, but we'll zip through them quickly as the manager stated. The first ordinance 23-0-840. We talked about this at the last work session. We have a boundary change.
Correct.
we
This
discussed?
essentially gives some right of way to the city of Dayton, unless you all feel like maintaining more roads. I recommend approval.
Move to approve. Second.
All right. City charter allows for the first reading of an ordinance to be read by title only, unless the council member requests otherwise. Madam Clerk, would you please read this ordinance by title only?
Ordinance 230840, an ordinance providing for the adjustment of the boundary line between the city of Riverside, Ohio and the city of Dayton, Ohio, authorizing the execution of an agreement with the city of Dayton, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any further discussion from members of council? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Denny,
Yes.
Mr. Joseph,
Yes.
Mrs. Franklin,
Yes.
Ms. Fry,
Yes.
Ms. Lomatch,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Moving into our resolutions. The first one is for our hometown holiday. Pretty self-explanatory. Is there any,
Move to approve. Second.
we have a motion for Mr. Denning, a second from Mr. Joseph on resolution 23-R-2877. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Mr. Manager, the next resolution is for the Budget Commission and the County Auditor. Could you give us a brief
Yep.
synopsis?
Just annual housekeeping. It allows us to build our budget around the county's projections for property taxes and other
Second.
We have a motion from the deputy mayor and a second from Mr. Joseph. All those in favor of resolution 23-R-2878 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Mr. Manager, the next resolution is for a transportation safety highway grant.
Correct. We were awarded the grant earlier this year to study traffic lights at Harshman and Valley and Harshman and Beatrice. This allows us to accept the grant and any funds and agreements that accompany it.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Joseph and a second from Mr. Denning. All those in favor of resolution 23-R-2879 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. And the next resolution is to accept a source water grant.
Correct. For signage as discussed by Ms. Holt at the last meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Joseph and a second from Mr. Denning. All those in favor of resolution 23-R-2880 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. The next resolution is something we talked about for a while, the Bushnell.
Several
property.
months ago. Yep.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from the deputy mayor and a second from Mr. Joseph. All those in favor of resolution 23-R-2881 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. And then the resolution for the TID.
Expands the scope of our work with the TID to allow us to work with them to continue on the Safe Streets for All project along the Woodman corridor.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Joseph and a second from Ms. Franklin. All those in favor of resolution 23-R-2882 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And the final resolution, Mr. Manager.
Final resolution is just a bit of housekeeping to recharacterize some funds that'll help true up our accounting for the year.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from the deputy mayor and a second from Mr. Denning. All those in favor of resolution 23-R-2883 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Madam Clerk, were there any members of the public who wish to speak tonight on non-agenda items?
No.
All right. We always welcome that. We will move on briefly to council member. Well, do we need council member comments? Anybody on council have anything they want to say this evening before we swear in the new chief?
Okay. Is his family here?
We're good to go.
Okay.
All right. We typically go around the horn, but we want to be mindful of our guest time and thank everyone who's joined us this evening. So we will move right in to what had been planned for earlier part of our meeting, but now we can welcome our new fire chief, Mark Miller, who will be taking the oath of office. And I believe that the clerk has the proper paperwork.
Were you going to do it from there? Okay.
I was going to walk over here. So if I could have the new chief, please join me up at the podium.
And let's get out of the picture. Well,
Here's how I cheat. I have one open and that one on. Okay. Mr. Miller, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Mark Miller, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Ohio, and will obey the laws thereof, and that I will, in all respects, uphold and enforce the provisions of the charter and ordinances of the city of Riverside, Ohio, and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of fire chief upon which I'm about to enter. Congratulations. Keep one, we keep one. And. Well, with that part. Chief, we would invite you to come up here with your family to have some photos of the backdrop. And I believe your wife Julie and your son is here. Got here safely, that'd be important. Oh, wonderful. Hold on, she's well. If we could have all of our visiting fire personnel that are with us this evening, any visiting fire personnel, could you please come up to the photo? Could you-
Want to thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for making time.
Welcoming our new folks. Okay, can you scooch together a little closer? Maybe turn side, maybe again. Yeah.
All right, and if I could have all of Chief's staff now join us at the front. If I go home and they're not good, I'll get yelled at.
Hey, Zach, you should just let Katie take it. It'll be at the same angle.
Okay, guys, the rest of you, come on up. Come on, all of you.
You know, it's my favorite.
Maybe some of you could get on your knee. Some of you get on your knee.
You must have a kiss.
None of you can get on your knee. Oh. I hope I never have to call them. That's my worst nightmare. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you.
How you doing? Yeah, 6 months. Thank you. Yeah.
Thomas, there's a difference if you take a picture like this, set up here. Much more flattering.
Back up.
Is that my chair?
Oh, I see.
All right, well, welcome aboard officially. And for those who are joining us on the broadcast, Chief, if you could just say a few words about where you're coming from, and we're just so happy to have you here. So thank you.
Yeah, so I appreciate the opportunity for obvious reasons. appreciate the family, coworkers for their support to get me to this point, because everybody plays a crucial role in anyone who gets promoted. Obviously, I'd like to thank the city of Riverside for giving me the opportunity to join your team and to join what Josh is putting together. That's one of the main driving factors of why I came up here, is the city manager that you all chose. I'm excited to be part of the team. I'm excited to be part of the community of Riverside. Mr. Mayor, I can't thank you enough for this opportunity. And you see the support we have in this room, a lot of people to call. So I'm not gonna have all the answers, but I'll get them for you. So again, thank you.
All right. Welcome aboard. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Mayor, and if I can just quickly add on to that, I'd like to thank, first of all, Chief Miller, but also everybody in this room and all of our visitors and guests. The fire service in general is difficult work. Command is difficult. Being a chief is difficult. We are pulling together a team, I think, that recognizes that. We're going to put our best foot forward for all of our public safety personnel. One of the reasons that I selected Mark and recommended him to council is that I think he shares our vision for what public safety can be in this community. He has a hunger and an appetite for the work. And I'm really excited to see what the next few years and beyond have in store for us. So thank you, all of you, for your service. And I really look forward to continuing to pull this team together and see where things go in the next several years. So looking forward to working with you, Chief.
We are going to have a motion to adjourn. I would also say everyone here, our guests, our staff, all of our fire staff that's here tonight, everyone is invited to stay and celebrate with the new chief and his family. And we have some refreshments and some cake. We'd love everybody to stay as long as you're able to and celebrate and visit. So please, everyone here, try to join us as soon as we adjourn here, and we'd be happy to continue the celebration. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second. Now, Chief, our meetings are not always 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they're 19. We have a motion for Mr. Denning and a second for Mr. Joseph. This might be our fastest one for this group.
It was
11 minutes.
If you go ahead and adjourn us.
And we are adjourned at 6:20. You don't have to vote, you just adjourn.
We don't have to vote.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
only when executive